Apple TV Plus goes underground again with season 3 of Silo. House of the Dragon is picking up steam again, a few episodes after its huge premiere. Plus, it's time to head back to Arlen for some propane and propane accessories, while X-Men 97's second season hits the midpoint. Plus, Christopher Nolan puts a new spin on one of the oldest stories there is, but where is it going to rank in his entire filmography? I'm Clint Gage, and here's IGN's watch list for the second week of July. Welcome to IGN's watch list, everybody. Our quick rundown of what we're excited about on the entertainment side of things. Movies, streaming, maybe even some over-the-air TV occasionally if we're feeling vintage. This week, we've got a good mix of past and future, and even a Days of Future Past mixed in there. And after that, I've got a few of my colleagues coming to suss out an update to the ranking of Christopher Nolan's movies. But before we get to that, let's get to the countdown. At number 5, we need to go with an underappreciated show on Apple TV Plus, because if there's one thing I love, it is a solidly upsetting dystopia. Silo drops on Fridays, and we're now 2 episodes into season 3. Now, what's cool about this show is that it's not limiting itself to the actual silo. It's not so narrow a thing as what they started. Season 2, they found other silos and a whole new cast of characters over there. And now we're getting to deal with some flashbacks. And if the whole thing is a mystery about how the world became toxic and why everybody retreated into the silos and what sort of algorithm is controlling everything, it's important to find a way to do that at scale. And Silo is growing in the right way here in season 3. They're also going to be done after season 4, so they have an end point they're working towards, which is always a good thing for a TV show. And also, Apple TV Plus just keeps having a great batting average. Widow's Bay earlier this year, Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, Star City just wrapped up a season. They're all solid shows. They seem to bottom out at pretty okay over there at Apple. So Silo is clearing that bar easily again. Now, number 4 is another series that we're well into the 3rd season of, House of the Dragon. Sunday nights on HBO and HBO Max. Episode 4 dropped this week, and we are looking forward to episode 5. After a premiere that was up there with as good as anything Game of Thrones has ever done, the show got a little bit talky by comparison, especially for a show with dragons right there in the title. But that's the thing about this franchise. The politics of it are just as juicy as the action. Now, there's new family drama with Damon finding out that it was his daughter on Sheep Stealer, so it's her that Rhaenyra wants dead. The real Prince Darren gets this sneaky cool reveal, and this is all the kind of deliciously violent soap opera stuff that's built this series towards some of its most iconic moments, so the rest of this season ought to be exciting. And also, like Silo, they're moving towards an ending they've got planned. It's based on work that's already written, so you can kind of trust that Ryan Condal and his writers are actually going somewhere with all the choices they're making. Number 3 is something near and dear to my heart, because I was in high school when King of the Hill first dropped in the 90s, and seeing it come back and updated for a new generation was a legit thrill last year. And Mike Judge has always done such a great job of staying kind of ahead of the curve. All of his comedy, even Beavis and Butthead, and especially Idiocracy, there's a satirical bent to his stuff that seems like it's from like a week in the future. It's clearly about what's happening in the present, but it's just so quietly smart. You have to love it. It's also rare that cartoon characters age, and now getting a look at Hank and Peggy in retirement, Bobby growing up and weirdly successful, it's all just such a blast. This season, they get scammed. They try golf. Based on the trailer, it looks like they're in a couples retreat. Bobby and Connie are official, so I'm expecting more of the same from Judge and the folks in Arlen. It drops Monday, July 20th on Hulu and Disney+. For number 2, to me, my X-Men 97 Season 2 of the reboot is trucking along, picking up right where the very popular Season 1 left off, and even more than that, right where the original series from the 90s left off. Episode 5 just dropped, and this season seems to be heading back towards a more Adventure of the Week formula, away from the massively cool Rise of Apocalypse 2-part. But getting a good Apocalypse storyline on screen was great. And the way they did it, by fleshing out his backstory in a way that raised the stakes, not just for him, but for Xavier as well, by giving him a role in the genesis of Apocalypse in the first place, it really shows what this series is best at. Digging deep into these characters and not being afraid to try some big serialized arcs. Now, on the other hand, we got an episode focused on Wolverine this week, which is really kind of the first one we've gotten in the 97 reboot. The original series made Wolverine its star. Stories that they've told so far in X-Men 97, though, see the big Apocalypse arc they just wrapped up, haven't left a lot of room for him. So it's great that we got a Logan-centric episode here, and also great that it highlights the densely packed stories this show is going for. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season every Wednesday on Disney+. Now, number one, this was really not too tough a choice, but the most exciting thing coming out this weekend is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, landing in theaters this Friday, July 17th. Now, there's not much else you can ask for out of a summer blockbuster. Nolan is, of course, one of the best, most reliable big-budget filmmakers we've got going. For his follow-up to his half of the Academy Award-winning duo Barbenheimer, he's going to one of the most ancient texts in human history and giving us his take on The Odyssey. It's the story of Odysseus, hero of the Trojan War, the guy who hatched the Trojan horse scheme. The cast is stacked. It's Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, like 400 other people you've heard of. They've also made no secret of the IMAX of it all. Nolan, who of course is a staunch supporter of practical effects and getting everything in camera, I'm really excited to see how this movie and that practical approach treats gods and magic and monsters. It's one of this generation's greatest filmmakers taking on one of our species' most iconic stories. Go see it in 70mm in IMAX. Find as big and loud a screen as you can to watch it on. The only open question is, where will this movie fall in context of the rest of Nolan's filmography? So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to discuss that very thing right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to IGN's Watch List, and joining me now to talk more about Christopher Nolan, we've got Michael Peyton and Scott Collura. Guys, how's it going?
It's all right. It's a Nolan kind of week, isn't it?
It is indeed.
I think we're all going through our own personal odysseys today.
Feels like it happens every time he puts a movie out. Thank God he doesn't make like one a year. I don't know that I can handle it.
Yeah, right.
But we are going to talk about it because this is inevitably, when a filmmaker like Christopher Nolan puts out a movie, inevitably you have to start talking about like, where does it fit in his entire oeuvre, if you'll allow me to speak French for just a second. Like, where is this movie going to land in his body of work is going to be the conversation at some point in the near future, right? So we're going to go around the room. We're going to talk about our top 3 Christopher Nolan movies. And Michael Peyton, I'm going to start with you. Give us your 3, 2, 1.
I think 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Thanks, Clint. My number 3 is The Dark Knight. I don't know, if there's much more we can say about The Dark Knight that hasn't already been picked apart to death. In my opinion, not only is it one of Nolan's best movies, it's one of the best superhero movies of all time, and definitely just one of the best movies of the 21st century. I think it's a masterclass in combining, directing incredible performances. I mean, we could probably have a whole episode about Heath Ledger as the Joker, and also just building tension with set pieces big and small. So my number 3 is The Dark Knight. My number 2 is Interstellar. It may be a generational thing. I think there's kind of a dichotomy of people who either love Interstellar or hate it. You can count me in as someone who loves it. The movie is definitely not without its flaws. I think the ending, Matthew McConaughey in a liminal space is probably the weakest part of
space continuum communicating the bookshelf in the cosmos.
The infinite bookshelf. But aside from that, it's epic in scale. The music is incredible.
Aiming for an emotion and then getting it, I think is one of the things that Interstellar actually has. And some of, like, to your point about like there are 2 different flavors of Interstellar fans. I think, like, as a parent, my first kid was young when I saw Interstellar. I could not get through the movie. Like, it was tough, and it hit the right notes at the right time. So
yeah, and I think too, I mean, look, it's full of great acting, great design, some huge surprises. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler talking about something 12 years after the fact, but Matt Damon showing up as inherently the bad guy halfway through the movie, I think is kind of one of the best story moments.
I will say the fact that they named him Dr. Mann always just
it's incredible. Just incredible there.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 1 is Inception. The balance of tone and story and visuals of that movie, to me, are unparalleled in the entire body of work of Christopher Nolan. A small nitpick, and I don't know how much Nolan had control over this. The only negative sentiment I had about Inception when I walked out of the theater was, oh, they really showed all the best parts of the movie in the trailer. That happens sometimes.
Was the spinning top in the trailer? I can't remember.
Maybe, I don't know.
And the only reason that those were in the trailer is because everything else in that movie is exposition. And that's going to be the end of my trash talking Inception.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We can offline about it later. But listen, I all that to say, it's not in my top 3. My number 3, I'm going to put The Prestige. I think The Prestige is a movie that the blockbuster stuff that he's done in the years since The Prestige kind of overshadows it. And it feels like it gets forgotten about. But every time I go back to that movie, I am shocked at how much I like it. He made a name for himself off of Following and off of Memento and everything, doing the non-linear thing. And the way that it works in The Prestige, the way that it works with the character arcs or Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale's character, like the form and the function of it are all pulling in the same direction. You can get really sort of cynical about it and call it a gimmick, and it's hard to make a gimmick work like emotionally. And The Prestige is just a really good example of that.
Clint, you like it because it stars Wolverine and Batman.
Is that it? Is that all I'm thinking of?
It's a Black Widow.
Man. Yeah, Black Widow's in it too. Is The Prestige on your list too?
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, I'll be quick about mine because my number 2 is the same as Peyton's. It's Interstellar. Kind of already gave my rundown of Interstellar, so I can be quick about that one. Mostly, honestly, it's that theater experience of seeing it. Like I went to see it late in its run too, so it was kind of like a mostly empty theater, and it was a big screen, and it was a dark room, and it was loud, and I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, and I really did genuinely enjoy that experience. It's sort of taking a step back from the movie itself, and just the experience of watching the movie is why it sort of sticks out for me. Again, outside of Dr. Mann, I will not. That drives me nuts. But my number one is actually Dunkirk. I love that movie. And talking about this is the thing that I'm fascinated by Christopher Nolan is that form and function thing working together, because he's so like you can recognize the pace and the structure of a Christopher Nolan story. And obviously Dunkirk played into that as well with the overlapping narratives and the nonlinear everything. And to do that in a war movie, to depict a moment in a war where we didn't know if we were going to win, if this was bad news, I don't know what's going on the other front. We're stuck on this beach and who knows what's happening anywhere else. And to present that in a way that overlaps and is confusing and you never quite have your bearings, like I thought was really effective. I understand that for some people, like that was exactly the thing that was wrong with the movie. Like there's I want to see the linear version of this story.
I don't think I knew going into it that how he was going to be telling the story either. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think so.
I can't remember if I did either. So all those title cards that were like, 1 hour and 1 week and one, I'm like, what is that? It takes a minute to get your bearings, which I think is great. I think it's a feature, not a bug.
Definitely. No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, so my number 3 would actually be Oppenheimer, which obviously was, a big deal for him. I think one of the things about Nolan that you can't deny is that this is almost a cliche, but he's the guy that makes movies to be seen in the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
And Oppenheimer was certainly that.
I have a maybe unanswerable question about Oppenheimer because I certainly believe that it warrants a place on someone's list. Do you think that like all of the accolades that came for that movie were deserved for that movie specifically, or do you think it was more like, okay, we're gonna really just recognize Nolan's stellar body of work to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit about the Oscars. Frank,
there you go.
I don't
get him.
I don't care about the awards. I don't care about the Oscars. So
he's in it for the money, Peyton, not the awards.
No, but I mean, I think it kind of is the answer to your question, which is that it probably was. There is sort of it was Barbenheimer, right? That was part of it as well.
I do think it's it was good, and Robert Downey Jr. was great. Cillian Murphy was great. Emily Blunt, she's so good. Everything. It's it's almost, she's getting to the point where it's not fair to her because like the bar she's set for herself is so high that if she's just regular good, it's like, yeah, whatever. It was weirdly one of the least Nolan-like movies of his filmography. To your point about seeing it on a big screen, like I don't know that this was a particularly like had to be on IMAX movie. Like in a lot of ways, like I came out of it feeling like everybody just had too much headroom because it was framed for IMAX, but also sort of framed for to like center cut it so that we could do it in smaller formats.
Yeah, I mean,
you even kind of see it in the trailer. It's just like Cillian Murphy walking down a hallway where you can see the ceiling for no reason at all. You know, like so. Like that was a one thing that weirdly in talking about bars that people have set for themselves and being potentially unfair. Like that was my takeaway from Oppenheimer. Was I wasn't as taken with it because it felt like it wasn't a Nolan movie for most of the runtime. And granted that the explosion sequence that's right at the heart of that movie was so much fun.
Okay, so my number 2 is Interstellar, which is a theme.
Get out of here. We're not all just wearing dark t-shirts and matching our number 2 is also.
I love the stuff with I think it's real footage of survivors of the Dust Bowl or something, right?
Yeah.
It is emotional, whether it's manipulative or whether or not Nolan decided to make a movie that's going to make people cry or not. He did it, and he did it well. I think it worked. So what does it matter ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, what does it matter that a magic trick is just a magic trick?
Yeah, and I love all this trippy sci-fi stuff, which he ultimately he's gotten away from it a little bit more recently, but like he is a sci-fi nerd in a lot of ways. The stuff that he does, and that movie's got some great sci-fi concepts in it too. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason we all picked it. My number 1 is Batman Begins, which is maybe a little bit of a dark horse. I don't know. Everyone loves the first 2 movies, I think, in that trilogy. But I actually prefer Batman Begins because, and this comes maybe from a really nerdy place, as much as I loved like Michael Keaton Batman and, some other stuff that had been done for Batman, it felt as though, they really did do the grounding of Batman. Like it feels like this is a real guy. And there's this, I don't know if you guys recall, but there's the sequence where everyone in the city is like, got the Scarecrow's fear toxin in their bloodstream, so they're all tripping out. And Batman is flying overhead with his wings, and they're seeing this horrific monster. And it's just like, that's like where the legend of Batman is going to like inform people for the rest of his like run in the city. He's not just a man; he's this bad creature. So there's elements like that which I thought were really cool, and it's also like Nolan coming into his own on the big budget side of things as well. I think he recently was talking about why he didn't take on Troy, the Wolfgang Peterson movie. It was when he was an up-and-comer and he was offered it or he had a shot at it and he felt like he wasn't quite ready for it. And so you could see how he kind of took his time and progressed to these really bigger scale things. And Batman Begins was a big step in that direction.
At that moment, too, like it was still kind of an experimental genre. Like, I mean, the mid-aughts there, 06 was also when Casino Royale came out, like the Gritty Bond reboot. So like the age of the gritty reboot was on the up at that point. And so like I do that. It was a weirdly mid-budget attempt at a Batman movie.
Yeah, it's like
obviously it paid off. So.
But yeah, in terms of like we always talk about recency bias with these lists, right? Because it's like Odyssey. Well,
you did just you put up the IGN's official review of the Odyssey. Gave it an 8. Where is the Odyssey going to be anywhere close to cracking your top 3? You think?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I've only seen it the one time, and it sometimes it feels unfair to just instantly throw it in the mix with the other films that you've seen a bunch of times and really had a chance to stew over. As of right now, I would say the Odyssey probably is not in my top 3. It's up there. I liked it a lot, but I don't know where it is. Maybe 4 or 5 right now.
Top half for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Top half. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Scott, because I have not seen the Odyssey yet. And I mean, look, I think you look at the cast of the Odyssey, right? Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Lupita Nyong'o, Tom Holland, like just all like, I mean, the list goes on. To me, not having seen it yet, but the most interesting thing about going into seeing the Odyssey is the biggest name in that movie is Christopher Nolan. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like you could probably at this point in his career, do that movie with actors that no one has heard of. And probably it would make 99% of the money that it's going to with all of these other amazing, well-known actors. And I think it's just a very interesting testament at this point to just how powerful he is of a director, how much of a name he is, as a writer director. He is the guy right now. And I think that, it's hard to see, anytime in the near to distant future that he is not going to be that. I mean, he could always have some sort of bomb. You never know. But I feel like he was pretty already, well cemented, but like he is the draw for this movie. And I think that says a lot.
Yeah. I mean, how long has this run been going for him? And it's got to be at least as far back as Inception.
I will say some of the bloom was off the rose a little bit after Tenet.
That's true.
Was not a,
Yeah.
And but he turned right around and made Oppenheimer, and that,
Right.
Hey, we're back.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, that's going to do it for this episode of Watch List. Peyton, Scott, thanks for joining me. Thanks for rattling on about Christopher Nolan, as is customary every time Christopher Nolan drops a movie. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back next week with more IGN's Watch List.